Hey guys, it's Elle Washington, and welcome to my Mystical Loves podcast. I am here with author R.M Carpus with her new latest Gothic romance suspense book, I Knew Her Once. Rachel, would you like to introduce yourself to everybody?
Sure. Hey, Al. Thanks for having me. I'm really
Sure.
happy to be here. I am author R.M Carpus, but everybody calls me Rachel. You can call me Rach on the socials, or if you ever meet me in person, my first name is Rachel. It's really nice to be here. I'm so excited.
Absolutely, definitely. And thank you for definitely taking the time to come on, definitely the podcast. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So who or what inspired you to write I Knew Her Once?
It's a very loaded question. In short, I would say a very real town. So Griffin Bay is a very fictionalized version of a very
Hmm.
real place. So I live in the Pacific Northwest. And the region that I had moved to ended up becoming the inspiration for the whole book. But I would say this story specifically, I wrote this as sort of a way for me to, I was telling the story to myself.
Okay.
Um, and it was a way for me to basically say goodbye to a version of myself. So like a version of somebody that I knew during the time that I had originally moved to this real Griffin Bay.
Oh, really? Okay. Kind of like saying goodbye to the past. Okay. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
It was like it was very much a cathartic novel. I think anytime you're writing fiction, it's usually very cathartic. I feel like we're always trying to work something out through it. This story kind of took place in my brain at the time, like it was born in my brain during a very turbulent time in my life. So I was working through a lot while it.
I hear that absolutely. I hear that definitely. I know life gets in the way. I definitely hear that. So with
Yeah.
that being said, how was it going into the next question? How was it creating your main character, Rose Harper? And was there any other characters? You don't have to go so much into detail. That was like a challenge to write.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So Rose was pretty easy to write because I just saw her so vividly, and truly all of the characters, they were very real to me. They were very vivid people because like most fiction, it was very much inspired by real places and real people and people I actually got to know. And some people that I'm still friends with to this day and stay in touch with. And so they were very real characters to begin with. They were inspired by real characters and very real personality traits and mannerisms. So they were easy to write. And Rose, especially, she was very vivid because there's so much in there that I could relate to within her.
Okay. I like
Or,
that. So with
yeah.
that, also the next question kind of leading into, and again, not going into much of detail, was there like a chapter or chapters that was, like I said, difficult to write? Because I know as we writers, like I said, we get there, we keep, pounding it out, grinding it out. But sometimes we
Mhm.
do hit a speed bump somewhere. So was
For sure.
there a chapter or chapters?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. One chapter that comes to mind, and yes, it is very spoilery. So what I can say is, it does involve Rose's realization of it's kind of like a big aha moment for her when she realizes something that's going on that's sort of central to the plot. But
Yeah.
while she's experiencing that, it's a very tense chapter, and it was very very hard for me to write. I had to kind of take breaks. It was super heavy. It was very heavy, and it was very, again, relatable. There's some autobiographical stuff in there. There are things that like are my personal lived experiences. So that chapter in particular, where she's realizing kind of what's going on, that was very emotional, very hard,
Right.
and I had to just kind
I
of step
bet.
away. I wrote like the bulk of it, and then I had to like take a breather and kind of come back to it, and write it in chunks because it was a lot. Yeah, it's
I bet.
very very close to home.
Yeah, definitely. I bet for that. Okay. So were there any historical places or cities that inspired you to create the unsettling mood for the sleepy town of Griffin Bay?
Yeah, that's such a great question. And absolutely. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I work in Seattle, in downtown Seattle, and very close to the city. You can actually see the city like from my place. But
Nice.
I live in a region, uh, all of the towns in the region that I live, a lot of them are truly haunted, and we have a lot of ghost tours. There's a lot of paranormal activity. A lot has happened in my area where I live in terms of like lore. There's a lot of folklore out here. and just like legends. And so I learned a lot about that when I first moved here from the locals. Very much like Rose going to Griffin Bay, she kind of gets to know the locals, and they tell her
Yeah.
like they give her all the tea, like they tell her all the rumors and what's going on in the town. And I definitely experienced that here. So I've traveled over the last few years to the surrounding towns where I live, and we have a lot of like haunted houses, creepy places, and this whole region, it just naturally inspired the story because it's so moody. And if you live here, like like it's very moody. It could be hailing 1 second, and the next minute you're like shrouded in fog and you can't see, and you're just convinced everything's watching you through the trees. And it's a very magical, atmospheric place to begin with. So it just kind
Right.
of really lent inspiration for the book in that way, also.
Interesting. Yeah, Rachel. And you said, like you said, you worked in Seattle. Are you, like I said,
Yeah.
a full-time writer, like I said, or just
No, I have a 9 to 5. I work for a trauma center actually in the
oh,
city.
nice.
Yes.
But
So
that's I'm very proud of you, like I said, for all the creators and writers. Doesn't matter full, part-time, you're still, like I said, hitting, pounding it and getting it
yeah,
out. So absolutely,
yeah,
yeah.
thank you. Absolutely. I did many years ago, I was a full-time writer. I used to actually write under a different name. And this was many years ago when the indie industry was very different. It was a lot more accessible. Now it's very, very hard to, as you know, as a writer, like it's very hard to gain traction and exposure when you're new, understandably, because nobody knows who you are. So they don't know your work yet. And people are not going to invest themselves in you unless they care about your work and they know what you're creating, and they have some sort of connection to it. So, it takes time, a lot more time to build up. I'm finding now that I've kind of come back into it. But years ago when I did that, I will just say I did it full time, and it was of course a dream job, but I have come to find all these years later, like re-entering the industry, that there is something to be said about having a 9 to 5. It gives you that structure and stability
Right.
and it gives you that ability to be able to create without the pressure of, oh, this next project has to be the one that makes the big paycheck or sustain or pays my rent next month. Or, and of course that's the dream. Like we would love to pay our bills full time with our art.
Yeah,
But
and it wasn't like I said, everybody got their different reasons. Like I said, I know some writers just want to do one book, just to get out there and to say, I
yeah,
did one book,
yeah,
call it a day. But then there are
absolutely.
other ones that may want to do a couple and may stop. Again, life gets in the way. Me, like I said, that doesn't apply to me. I definitely would love to eventually do it full time. And I know with the 9 to 5, and I definitely, right, exactly. I do appreciate the stability of that, but it's also at the same time, it's very hard to balance, like I said, both doing the 9 to 5 as well as writing, but to find that time to write. And I know some people can write for 4 or 8 hours. Unfortunately, I
Mhm.
don't have that time luxury,
Yeah.
even 30 minutes. So eventually, like I said, Rachel, like I said, we're different. Everybody has the different paths, especially becoming writers and authors. So I think that's
Absolutely.
great. And again, and sometimes situations happen with the economy. Some people, like, they
Mhm.
get laid off
Yep.
or quit, whatever the reason is.
Mhm.
So, but it definitely is hard to, like I said, find the balance. If you really want to do it, you definitely want to make time to do it. Sometimes I slip up too. If life gets in the way, my good and bad days.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'll write certain days. Sometimes I won't. But again, that's, I don't know if you ever had that experience, but
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. It's like a delicate balance, I feel like, because yeah, you have to prioritize it and you have to carve it into your schedule just like you carve everything else into your schedule. But at the same time, we can't beat ourselves up for like you're talking about, like you have a day where it's like things just don't go as planned. I mean, life derails us, and you have to give yourself grace about that and be like, okay, this happened. It is what it is today. Tomorrow I'll write. Like, so, I think structure and accountability is good for ourselves, but at the same time, we gotta let ourselves be human.
So true. Yes, I need to work on so true. Because like I said, some days we can do it, and I'm looking at quotes from one of my favorite writers. Keep writing, 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 writing. But sometimes, again, some days I can
Mhm.
do it, some days I
Mhm.
can't. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So with that being said, like, who or what inspired you to become a writer and author?
Oh man, I feel like my mom passed away very young, very tragically. So she's not here for me to tell her thank you in person. But
Sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry.
yeah, thank you. But she definitely inspired me because She was a firecracker. She was a very dramatic person. And she just had a flair for the dramatic, and she was very, very much into art. She was an artist, and she was into, just cinema. She loved movies and she loved music. She was always, I got a lot of that from her. Like she was always at concerts and um, always at the movie theater and always just dreaming up like the next adventure. She was a very adventurous person. And so I get a lot of that from her. Like she was a very free spirited and very passionate person. And also I'd say from movies, I was such a geek, like movies, my love for film made me just a weird kid. First off, I was like spinning around my room when I was 7 years old. I was always pretending to be like Wednesday or Morticia Addams. It depended on my mood, usually Lydia from Beetlejuice. I like any movie that I was obsessed with as a kid. I was like dressing up in my room, talking to myself. I was a weird kid. So I just movies. Like I loved storytelling, and everything was always very cinematic for me, like in my brain. So every time I had an idea, even as a kid, for like a story, I would see it like a reel in my head. And so I just had
So
to quick
true.
sit down, and write it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So true. I like that. I like that. Was there a favorite movie, like I said, that inspired you? Like I said, besides a lot of movies that inspired you to do that. I know it happens like it pops in our head.
Yeah.
Like it feels
Um,
real.
when I was a kid, I was a big like Tim Burton geek. So like anything Tim Burton, I absolutely
Oh yeah.
loved. Oh, my God, I mean, just so talented. But I watched a lot of, again, weird for a kid. I was a 90s kid. And so it was like before my time, but I was obsessed with everything Alfred Hitchcock, all of Alfred Hitchcock's movies. Like I love suspense, I loved horror, and I loved like how he masterfully wielded his skills on screen. Like I think his stuff was scary without a lot of gore, without it was like, he knew that the scariest stuff we could come up with was what we created in our heads. And sometimes
So
his
true.
music or the lack of music that he used, the Twilight Zone, that old TV show, The Twilight Zone, I was really into that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just stuff like that definitely inspired my love for suspense and horror specifically in storytelling. So
Very nice. Absolutely. Okay. Definitely very, very nice. So is there anything new that you're working on now, or are you basically taking a reset, like a break?
yeah, I always say I'm going to take a break, but that never happens.
I know.
I don't know if you go through that, but I'm like,
Yes.
after this book, my writing and publishing partner, author Dia Million, she and I have a publishing venture on the side that we worked on together. We're called Wraith House. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram and all of that. So we both really love like spooky stuff. So we write together, but she's also my editor. And we talk about this all the time. I'm like, I just tell her name's Domenica. I said, Domenica, I'm taking a break after this book. She's like, okay, like, yep, we'll see.
You
Like,
say that.
so,
No, we always say that. I know, taking a break. Yeah, and it doesn't happen because,
and
like
it's
I said,
good too. I probably will eventually. But to answer your question, yes, I'm working on a dark academia romance right now. It's releasing June 8th of next year. It's called Loyal
nice.
Liars.
It's
Yeah,
called what? Loyal.
Loyal Liars. So it's available for pre-order now on Amazon.
Oh, well, okay.
Yes, it's a lot of fun to work on. It's very much inspired by films like Saltburn. It's not quite as it's not Saltburn, but there are shades of Saltburn in there. The Talented Mr. Ripley, the OG Cruel Intentions. There's a little bit of Scream in there, but there's like a romance. Yeah, secret societies, and it's going to be very intense. So I'm excited. It's a lot of fun to work on.
Oh my. Okay. Yeah, it sounds like drama, supernatural. Love it. Dark, highly. Is it a prep school, Rachel?
Yes, yes. It's a university, so it's, I'm playing on I love like class difference stories. I love really exposing, the dark elite underworld and everything that is wrong with it. And I love like bringing in characters that are obviously not from those backgrounds and challenging those constructs. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So it's a university. The characters are like mid-20s. They're like master's students, so they're not quite like 20-year-old. They're not freshmen in college, but
Oh, so they're in college. I don't know why I thought they were in high school. Okay.
I feel like a lot of dark academia stories are like
Oh,
I feel
right.
like a lot of them, yeah, maybe that makes sense because I feel like a lot of them are they're like, private high schools, but yeah, this one's actually it's like an Ivy League university on the East Coast, a
No,
fictional one.
I think that's great though, because like I said, I mean, I like that type of stuff with the high school and especially with college and everything. But I'm
Mhm.
definitely excited for you for that. Okay, definitely.
Thank
So
you.
definitely, you guys, as you heard her, it will be out next year. Definitely gets a pre-order for that.
Yes,
And with
thank
that,
you.
Rachel, being said, can you? I definitely want to thank you again for taking the time to come on to my podcast. Do you want to
Absolutely.
let everybody know? Oh, you're very welcome. Do you want to let everybody know where they can find you, your socials, your website, and your latest?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me.
Very
Feel
welcome.
free to look for me at rmcarpus.com. That's my main website, rmcarpus.com. All of my links and everything are there. That's like my central hub, and I definitely recommend sign up for my newsletter. When you go onto the website, it will prompt you to sign up, because I definitely communicate with I communicate all the newest updates to my newsletter subscribers first, but I'm also on pretty much all of the socials, just not Twitter. And you can find me under the handle at RM Carpus. So, and I feel like I'm on Instagram most, so feel free and come and say hi and love to see you on there.
Absolutely. Okay. Definitely, guys. So you heard it, like I said, from Mrs. R.M. Carpus. Please feel free to check out, like I said, her book that's out now. I knew her once. Definitely check it out. Amazon, Kindle, pre-order, anything. So, okay. So,
Yeah.
Rachel, thank you again for taking the time to come on, and I will see you guys next time.
Yeah. Thanks, Alec. Alec, I'm excited to hear about your work too.
Oh,
Coming up.
yeah, yes.
I'm excited. You have
That
to
I
keep me
just I
posted.
needed to take a moment of silence for that. It's coming. I know I'm in my we were talking about it earlier about resetting and taking a break. It's my transition, but yes, I'll obviously we're following each other. I'll keep you in the loop. It's coming. Just
That
I'm
sounds
just
good.
I need a moment of silence because it's coming.
Yep.
So
Yep. Best of luck with it. It's great
thank
meeting you.
you. I appreciate it, and thank you very much. All right.
See
All
ya.
right. See ya.